My name's Thea. I played theremin in the band Night Chill, and we currently reside in Hamilton, Ontario. When I grew up in Victoria, BC, I used to love to watch monster movies late at night. It was probably my major influence, and one night, I remember specifically, Night of the Living Dead came on, and I was around 7 or 8, and I was like, what is this? And I realized that I was always in love with monsters because they were like the outcasts of society, and it just seemed so punk rock because these zombies were all different, yet they walked together for a common goal to eat human flesh. And I thought, wow, I want to be one of those zombies. Then, to add to my influences, I saw Return of the Living Dead when I was 14. And then all of a sudden I was introduced to all this great music like The Damned, The Cramps, TSOL, and the punks that were hanging out at the graveyard. And I think that was it. I was over the edge. I was gone. Well, what got me into punk was I remember I had a babysitter that was actually listening. Like, I don't want to date myself, but they were listening to the Sex Pistols, and I was like, what is this? And I was like, this is so bad. I should not be listening to this music. But I felt so good being so bad. And then she never came back again. I do not know what happened to her. But later on, in my teenage years, I had bought a Beastie Boys tape. And I lent it to a skater kid, and he took my Beastie Boys tape and he lost it. And he said, Thea, I lost your tape, but how about I give you this tape instead? I think you'll really like it. And it was Misfits, Legacy of Brutality. And that changed my whole world. I put it on and I was like, that was it. So I started a little later point in the Misfits, and then I went back, I found everything, and then I was existing when Sam Hain came out, and I was like, this is the best thing I've ever heard. It was like horror and punk, and I felt like the music was made for me. So I really can't believe I'm admitting this, but my first concert was Gowan in Victoria, BC, with Chalk Circle opened. And I remember afterwards I was like already like a big music groupie. I was like trying to meet them, and I was like 8 or something. But I met Chalk Circle, and I remember they were really nice guys. And then my first punk concert, when I kind of switched to punk rock, was SNFU. And I don't remember who opened. It was at a community center in Victoria, BC. And it was a wild show, like absolutely wild, and blew anything I'd ever seen out of the water. So a couple of my favorite shows I've seen are in the year 2000, when it was about to turn 2000, is the Y2K New Year's, and we were all worried the world was going to end. So I decided I wanted to end it with the Cramps. So I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I saw the Cramps on New Year's Eve, and it was really crazy because I got really sick when I went down there, and I had a fever, and I was like, I don't care, I have to see the Cramps. And I must have been like super sick. The nice thing is the people at the club actually propped me up, put me on the stage, and sat me there so I could personally watch the Cramps. And they put on the most amazing show, if you know. One of my other favorite shows was seeing Sam Hain. They did a reunion tour, and it was at Irvine Plaza in New York City, and it was just amazing. And I got dressed up as the girl on the cover with my skull face and everything, and I had the deck of cards, and it was just an amazing show. I also saw Jello Biafra in New Orleans. He played with a local New Orleans band with doing all brass band, playing New Orleans traditional music, and it was Jello Biafra singing. So that was a really great, like, I'll remember that show forever. And then another really cool one I saw, which wasn't that long ago, was in LA, and it was Danzig, TSOL, and Suicidal Tendencies for $6.66 at a stadium. And it was a stadium show, so it was like, of course they were like tiny, but it was still amazing, and the whole vibe and all the people we met, and it was just a great time. One of my ultimate favorite shows ever, and I recommend seeing this person, is King Diamond. I think he puts on the most amazing show, and all his shows like have a story, and he rolls out grandma, and it's just, he has a staircase with candles and like organs, and it's just incredible. Like, if my stage show could ever be like something, I'd want it to be like King Diamond. The craziest thing I've ever seen at a show was in Victoria, BC at the Roxy Theatre. They decided to have DRI play, and I don't know if they knew what they were getting into, because when DRI started, and this is a beautiful old vintage theater, all the theater chairs got ripped out and they were flying around the whole theater like these giant chairs. It was insane. It was definitely a crazy show, and I actually caught DRI many years later in LA at the Hard Rock, and same thing, the railings got ripped right out. I don't even know how these kids get superhuman strength when they listen to DRI. So the first band I had was called Slug Vomit, and I was singing for them, but I quickly lost interest. I was like 14, and it just wasn't very fun for me. And then I kind of left music behind, and later in my life, actually, I had a boyfriend make me a bass, and he actually put leopard print all over it. I started learning some bass, and then I moved to Hamilton, and I was in the band Dementia 13 for a bit, and that was really fun, and I just got too busy to do that. But later on, I started playing theremin. I got more interest in playing theremin and less interest in the bass, and I started gigging around. So I've played some shows with the Marinexx, and I'm on a couple recordings, and I play with House of Haunt, or I have once in a while. I'll play a show with them, just give them some spooky vibes. And I'm currently in the band Night Chill, and we're basically a horror, rock, garage, gothic, punk, metal, weird band. What I like about having a band is that it's like having a second family. So I am an only child, and I have to work creatively with other people, which is a little hard for me and challenging, but I really appreciate it. It gives a whole new sense of creativity to anything I do. And though I love playing theremin on my own, it's just a whole new vibe when I have different people playing with me. What I hate about being a musician is loading equipment. I seriously need a roadie badly. My favorite food is definitely popcorn. I could just live off popcorn like day and night. That would be all I would eat if I could. And actually, I have a second favorite food. I like sweets a lot, and I have vegan jelly candies, and they're skulls. And these are like the best skulls. And you get them at IKEA, and they're like amazing. You wouldn't believe they're vegan. So awesome. You want one?
I can't get it. Thank you.
You won't believe they're vegan. my useless talent is I can play this blade of grass.